I was your man, you were my girl. We were technicolor in a black and white world. Oh, I hope one day you'll find your way back into my arms. Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name is Nathan. I know you guys want to get right into the video, but two quick things before we start. First, make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it in the future. And second, if you guys are in the market for Christian apparel, make sure to check out God the Father at godthefatherapparel.com. They got some awesome stuff like this Choose Prayer Over Panic t-shirts or the tie-dye t-shirt right here. It's some really fantastic high quality stuff. And if you do end up purchasing, you can use the discount code Acoustic15 at checkout to get 15% off your next order. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. Here we go. To get started, we're going to place our capo on the 2nd fret, and we're going to be using chords in the key of G major. Starting off with this G major chord, we're going to have our middle finger on the 3rd fret of the low E, pointer finger on the 2nd fret of the A, and ring and pinky on the 3rd fret of the high B and E strings. We're also going to be using a G over B shape, which is going to take off our middle finger, and we're going to mute the low E string, and we're only going to play the high 5 strings. Next will be a C add 9. We're going to take our G shape, we're going to move our middle and pointer fingers up 1 string. So now we have middle on the 3rd fret of the A, and pointer on the 2nd fret of the D, and everything else stays the same. Next is going to be a D major chord, or a D over F sharp. The normal D major will have an open D string, pointer finger on the 1st fret of the G, or 2nd fret of the G, sorry, ring finger on the 3rd fret of the B, and middle finger on the 2nd fret of the high E. The D over F sharp is going to take the exact same shape, and we're going to pull our thumb over the top and play the 2nd fret of the low E, and then an open A, and everything else is the same. Last but not least is an E minor 7. For the E minor 7, we're going to have our pointer finger on the 2nd fret of the A, middle on the 2nd fret of the D, and then ring and pinky on the 3rd fret of the high B and E. The main picking pattern throughout this entire song is called Travis style picking, so I'm going to teach you guys that first. On a G chord, it'll sound a little like this. So there's a couple variations from that throughout the song, but the main one is going to have your thumb going from the root of the chord, so in this case the low E, to the D string, and it'll have your pointer and middle on the G and B strings. So your thumb will strike on the low E, then on the D with your middle on the B, then thumb, then pointer on the G, then thumb on the D, and then middle on the B. Now super slow, it doesn't really make much sense, but if you speed it up just slightly, you can hear the flow of it better. And I encourage you guys to play along with this just slowly so you can get the hang of it and get the flow. Now, on an E minor, it would be the exact same pattern because the root is on the low E. But on like a C chord, you would move your thumb up to the A string, and it would move between the A string and the D string. And then on our D major chord, we would move the entire shape up 1 string, so your pointer and middle is on the high B and E, and your thumb would move between the D string and the G string, but everything else would stay the same. Moving into the verse, we're going to have our pointer and our middle finger on the D and the G strings, and we're going to have our thumb on the roots of the chord. We're going to start off in our G over B shape, and we're going to hammer onto the 3rd fret of the A string. Then pluck with our pointer and middle to the 2nd fret of the A. Our pointer is going to go down to the 2nd fret of the low E, and then pointer middle to a G. So slowly that first half of the riff will sound like this. Then into the second half on the G chord, we're going to be playing Travis style picking on the low 4 strings, and we're going to add a little embellishment with our ring finger on the 2nd cycle. So it'll sound like this. So slowly the entire riff together will sound like this. You can use that riff both for the intro and the outro. It'll be played twice both times. And then the first 2 lines of the verse will also use that. When I was your man, you were my girl. We were technicolor in a black and white world. Now into the third line, the first part is going to be exactly the same. But then instead of going to a G, we're going to go to a C add 9, and we're going to be doing Travis style picking on the middle 4 strings. So that whole third line. And for the final line, we'll go to an E minor 7. We're going to strike with our thumb on the low E, then pointer middle, to a D over F sharp, same thing, to a G, same thing. Then finish the line with 2 cycles of Travis style picking on the C add 9. So lines 3 and 4 all together. Now the whole verse with lyrics. When I was your man, you were my girl. We were technicolor in a black and white world. They say young love, it just don't last. Well, it looks like they were right about that. And that same cycle can be used in verse 2 and verse 3 and the outro. So we ended the verse on our C add 9. We're also going to enter into the chorus on that same chord. We're going to be doing basically Travis style picking throughout the entire chorus. We're going to go from our C add 9 to our G, to our D, and then to our E minor. The second line will be similar, C to G, then 2 bars on the D. Then the third line will be the same as the first, C, G, D, E minor. The last line will go from the C to the G to the D, and then back to the G, and it will cycle directly back into the verse 2. So the entire chorus with Travis style picking with lyrics will sound like this. And oh, I hope one day you'll find your way back into my arms. So girl, I'll put this heart of mine somewhere good and safe in case you want it again someday. And that same chord progression can be used in all 3 choruses. Then for the little ooh section, we're going to continue with the Travis style picking on the E minor 7 to a D, then a G to a D. It'll sound like this. Ooh, ooh. Then straight into verse 3. So, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please feel free to give it a like. I'd really appreciate that. And go ahead and subscribe down below to get notified about new content just like this on Thursdays at 5:30 p.m. Central Time. If you want to check out my original music, it'll be in a playlist in that top right corner. But otherwise, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I'll see you later.